So look, I am an optimist about the special relationship. I think it is incredibly deep. It's across our business community. Across our defense community. So I think let's not pay attention to a lot of the trash talk that's been going on.
The trash talk, Penny, has been coming out from the most senior members of the Trump cabinet, including the vice president, who many people think is the heir apparent and who could lead the Republican Party and could lead the United States for years to come after Mr. Trump. So we have to take it very seriously when he and the Defense Secretary and others have utter disdain for Europe, don't we?
So no, I don't think that's the case, and I think that actions speak louder than words. We're looking at some pretty serious things going on the trade front. That is an opportunity for Britain and Europe to focus on what can actually help all of our economies. And clearly the president has some legitimate complaints. We need to look at that. I don't think we should be getting into a trade war and escalating this. I think we should be focused on the precise things, the regulations, the things outside of trade as well that are barriers to our businesses. And that's what we should be focused on.
The UK, of course, as you say, has an Atlanticist approach by and large as well, the special relationship you referred to as well there as well. Just wondered really what you thought of how Sir Keir Starmer's handling it. From my own personal point of view, I thought he played the trump card, of course, with the royal visit and the state visit. But I also thought he's handled it pretty well so far in negotiating both sides. But more importantly, what do you think?
So look, I'm giving credit where credit is due. I think you've seen British diplomacy at its finest. He had a very good visit. There's clearly warm feelings and rapport there. That's great. It's not going to be enough. We've got to get down into the detail. We've got to really address the legitimate concerns that the president has, but also think about how those things and reform can help our own business community as well and our own economy. So that's what we need to focus on. And I think the other area which we could do better at is on our approach to defence spending. There's been some announcements, but there's a lot of Treasury smoke and mirrors. There isn't really anywhere near what NATO itself has said its members need to do. We've got to do a lot more, billions more. And I'd like to see a bit more of that from government at the moment.
In terms of Starmer's interactions with President Trump, yes, he has played his cards well to date, but there's still a very looming threat that the UK is not excluded from tariff action that the US may take against a broader Europe. What negotiating leverage does Keir Starmer have to bring to the table to play next if President Trump does look to target the UK?
Well, look, we are in a very different position than our European partners. We chose several years ago to move out of that regulatory orbit of the EU so that we could have an independent trade policy, so that we could have our regulatory approach based on one of adequacy and equivalence, just as the United States does, just as CPTPP does. And that gives us an advantage. And what we need to do is be creative, not just on those things that would fit into a federal trade deal, things like tariffs, but also with our approach to regulation. Most of the regulation in the US sits at state level. And so I'd like us to be leaning in more to the state level deals that we set up under the last Conservative government, things like mutual recognition of qualifications, things that would support our small businesses in particular. So I think there's a whole raft of very, very positive things that we could do, as well as addressing some of the issues that the president has concerns about.